Right, the Enterprise and Supplier Development Expo will promote the economic motivation behind the new broad-based Black economic empowerment legislation and position them as a tool for growth and sustainability that every South African business owner should learn how to use. The Enterprise and Supplier Development Exhibition is aimed at assisting procurement professionals better understand the demands placed on them to source local content and gives them a platform to find SMMEs who can fit into their business structure. Debbie Tagg is the COO at the Chief Operations Officer at the Commerce Edge, and she joins us now for more. Debbie, that was quite a mouthful. What is this all about?
Well, my family says I have 3 babies, 2 kids, and this particular event. But been very privileged to be part of launching it for over 7 years. And really, as you saw Commerce Edge, you're thinking, how does that link to enterprise development? Exactly. Commerce Edge has been training and developing capacity in supply chain and procurement for 20 plus years in South Africa and into Africa. And as a result, hosting the annual procurement conference for the profession, we launched something called the Enterprise Supplier Development Expo 7 years ago in Joburg, and we now run 4 other regional versions of this as well. And it's really an event that builds a bridge and an understanding before even the new codes were out between small business but verified good suppliers that are already doing business perhaps with one corporate, and giving them market access to other corporates, creating a very good pool of Black-owned businesses for these procurement professionals from government and private sector to source from. And on the flip side, also educating. What is procurement process? Why do I need to fill out all these forms? What is needed? And for procurement also to understand the frustrations of small business to be able to get into their supply chains.
So you provide a service for an operational space, but it has moved beyond just operations and has become problematic in the larger national conversation. We have the State Capture Commission now, where one of the major issues, in fact, it's one of the things they started with on the first day of the State Capture Commission, processes of supply chain and procurement. Do people who operate in the space understand the importance of their role?
It's a procurement professional, especially, and I'm going to talk a government supply chain professional, they're literally stuck between rock and a hard place. There's so much legislation that literally if they move this way, they might be breaking this policy. And through our events,
is also important though.
Absolutely. But what has been an important and phenomenal journey over the last 6 or 7 years with the Enterprise Supply Development Expo and the co-locating of it to the Smart Procurement World Conferences and the Supply Chain Conference that we run is helping them understand that they can affect change. They can influence socio-economic development in their regions at a municipal level, at a departmental level, not just taking 3 quotes, and actually start making the sourcing from Black-owned businesses part of their KPIs.
Besides the legislation, what standards are they held to?
Well, we would think government departments, do they have to be BE compliant? But they do, and they've got those same standards and that same imperative, and in fact we look towards them to how to achieve it. I would say one of the things that we've seen develop over the last few years and be a phenomenal difference in this enterprise supply development space, particularly, I'm going to use Western Cape as an example. We've got that conference in 3 weeks' time. Even the Free State, we're having our first one there next week. It's that partnership, it's collaboration. So government and economic development has realized we can't do this enterprise supply development on our own. Private sector can't do it on their own. Small businesses can't do it on their own. So how do we create a collaborative environment that, for instance, if you're going to develop Saldanha Bay, which corporates are there? What is municipality, local economic development?
Locally, before we move out.
Exactly. How do we, so it's actually more of a how do I procure locally as opposed to a tick box BE compliance. And it's seeing that change that I think is now creating more intent around and understanding the intent around the codes.
How did these conferences come about? When did you realize there is a need for this conversation about this particular area of production or of carrying out services?
Absolutely. We've been running the procurement conference for many years, but we realized that ESD, or supply development and enterprise development, was starting to fall more under procurement. It had traditionally sat under CSI and HR role, but it doesn't fit under there anymore because it's about taking an entity, developing them so that they're good enough to be in your supply chain. We also realized in engaging the procurement side of the businesses and organizations that they were developing suppliers, maybe a one-man business, but maybe their need would change. And then that poor business has been developed, but they have no market access. So you can fund them, you can train a going concern, but at the end of the day, they need contracts, they need access, they need business. And why develop a small business just for your use as a corporate? Develop them for the industry.
So you said an important word there, change, and one of the changes that have come about is the promulgation of the BBBEE legislation. We were having a conversation, it's now a political conversation. We were having talking to the leader of the Democratic Alliance the other day, Mr. Maimani, who was saying that they envisage that if the DA becomes the government, they will scrap BBBEE because it's politicized. How is this policy impacting on the processes of supply chain and procurement?
It's putting an imperative on them to procure locally, to source from black-owned businesses.
In a certain way.
Yes, but it is a compliance. So the message we've been trying to share and share case studies, we're trying to show procurement professionals, enterprise development professionals, transformation heads, that if you do this properly, not as a tick box, not because it's political. You do it because it's the right thing in our economy, because you're creating local market, you're creating a lot of activity, and you're developing these businesses into being, not everyone wants to be an entrepreneur either. So what we didn't want and you don't want is the codes having a whole lot of startups that fail.
Absolutely. That is so important.
So we've been very passionate about taking these businesses that have got a good product, that are doing well, and make them employer not of one, but of 10, 20, 30 people. That is sustainable economic development. So yes, the codes have politicized it, but I'm hoping, and we are seeing that change, where organizations are thinking long and hard before they even put money to a program or put money to supply development, because they want it for the long haul, not just a quick one.
When you're looking at an overall organization or institution or company, how do you measure the success of a procurement process?
Well, procurement's under a lot of pressure to save costs. And, one of the challenges for procurement is they might find this really good local business, but their stakeholders inside the business, the end user, says, no, but I've been using so-and-so company for years and years and years, and there's no one that can supply this. So it's a very hard role for procurement to also change mindset within a large corporate. It works when the imperative comes from the top down, from CEO, CFO, and CPO.
So we talking the Enterprise and Supplier Development Expo. Who should go there? What do they stand to benefit?
What do they stand? Well, as I said, we've got regions. We have a national one that runs in September. The call is to anyone involved from a procurement side. Obviously, we bring that community to all the regions. But if you are looking to develop, if you're an incubator, if you're supporting small business, definitely come along. We have funders. ABSA is actually our anchor partner and has literally born this baby of this expo with us for 7 years already. But in the regions, we also have other partners. And as a small business, what we do is we open it up on the open exhibition day. So if you, no cost, no entry fee, come through, come and be exposed to what it means to take your business to another level. What happens at the expo is that you will have pavilions of small businesses that are being hosted by corporates, by government entities. So what we also figured out is that we've created a small business marketplace as well, so they also do business with each other, not just with corporates.
So another word that has been used generally with relation to these processes and has tended to become almost like a swear word in recent times is tenders. Are tenders necessarily a bad thing?
No, but I think one of the frustrations is that tenders, you don't want tenderpreneurs, and I think it's filtering those out. But tendering is a process. It's a way. It means well. It has resulted in a lot of extra legislation to protect, fronting and those kind of things. And it is a tricky place for anyone trying in an organization, but at the end of the day, it is their process. And I think for a small business, if you understand how to approach that tender, how to complete it correctly, why am I filling out this form? If you know the intent also behind that tender process, it makes it easier.
So, Debbie, it's a very technical conversation that we've just had, and a person watching and thinking, what's the benefit of this conversation?
Yes.
What would you say?
Well, I'm going to be unbiased in this comment. What's happened by nature of the fact that we host procurement alongside suppliers and small businesses being showcased, this Smart Procurement World and the Enterprise Supplier Development Expo has become the largest linkage platform for small business. And we're very, very happy that that's happened. But we continue to work alongside to see how we can match the right small business to the buying power and appetite at each event. What's in it for you? This has been a very technical conversation. The reality is it's a technical to a lot of small businesses. So come to any of these events. Here we have a lot of presentations, free presentations. There's also paid aspects, but there's also free. And come and understand and how to navigate this in your region or in your sector.
Quickly give us a website.
www, you knew that one, Smart Procurement World. So that's a mouthful, but Smart Procurement World, one word, .com. And you can find any of these platforms in your region and that are coming up.
Debbie Tagg is the Chief Operations Officer at Commerce Edge, and we were talking about the Enterprise and Supplier Development Expo. Let's take a break.